So how many of you have on your browser, whether on your laptop or on your phone, where you have 100 tabs open or getting close to there? Let's be honest. I know there's at least some of you out there that have that. And so what do we do when those 100 tabs are not on our phone and they're actually in our brain? And we've got 100 different tabs open in our mind and we're trying to go to sleep. That's what I'm going to talk about today. The idea, basically, we all have kind of experienced this a little bit where we're trying to wind down at the end of the night and trying to get ready for bed. We have so many different things that are just kind of bouncing around in our head that we're not able to actually, turn our brain off. This is one of the biggest complaints that I get from people when it comes to, addressing sleep related issues, is that they just tell me that they can't shut their brain off. They can't turn it off, and they've got just too much is kind of going on, or too many different things that are just bouncing around their head, and they're not able to quiet it. And so, what exactly can we do with that? One of the things I talked about, earlier this week, and I've talked before about setting up a routine, a kind of a wind down routine of sorts, that you can utilize in order to prepare yourself for sleep. And a component of that is doing a brain dump. And so that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today of why exactly this works and how we can go about doing it. And so the basically the reason why we want to do something like this is because it's a way to close those tabs that you have open up in your brain. You've got all these different things that you're thinking about, and doing a brain dump is a way to shut all of that down so that you don't have to think about it, you don't have to focus on it. And so the question then is, how do we go about doing this? My preferred method, and the way that I describe it or explain it for most people, is that you sit down with a piece of paper and a pencil, and you can go about it two different ways. Essentially, you can go about it where it's going to be organized in a fashion where you sit down and you can write out, you can write out lists, or you can write out, the things that are kind of on your mind of what needs to be. A lot of times this kind of relates to kind of to-do lists. What needed to be done today that didn't get done, that needs to be done tomorrow. What's urgent, what can be done tomorrow, what can be done later. If you've got particular thing kind of bouncing around in your head of an event that went on for the day or something like that, just kind of jotting some notes down on that, doing so in a very kind of organized fashion where you have these ideas and these thoughts and these things that you're maybe struggling with a little bit, that you're just preoccupied with. And so you just need to simply get them down on paper so you can tell yourself, I can stop thinking about this and I can pick this back up tomorrow. Again, this works really good when it comes to, or really well when it comes to-do lists and things like that. The other way of doing it that I've had people do as well is just simply sitting down and just writing whatever it is that comes to mind, and just writing. As your brain is going to go faster than your hand can keep up, but you just simply write as much as you can, and just without being judgmental, without worrying about punctuation, without worrying about anything, just simply writing what's, just kind of having a direct line from your brain to your hand to the paper, and just putting whatever thoughts come to mind, just putting them down on paper. This works very much in the same way of if you've got thoughts that are just bouncing around in your head that you're not able to one, organize and let go of, or be able to shut your mind off to. It's a way to do that. It's a way to just kind of, okay, I'm writing this down. I'm letting these things go. And for some people, they go back, and like I said, a lot of times our brain goes much faster than what our hand can when it comes to writing. And so if we were to go back and look at it, it may not necessarily make much sense, but you can still kind of reap the benefits from it. Now, one of the things that you could do with this is you can keep it kind of to a time frame. Set yourself a limit. Maybe it's just 2 minutes. Maybe that's all the time that you have. 2 minutes to do a brain dump. Maybe you've got 5 minutes. I would say you don't want to go on for too terribly long. I would say probably 5 minutes. It's probably, for most people, it's probably going to be a good kind of range to kind of aim for a little bit, because it gives you enough time to be able to kind of unload some of that stuff without being too long that you're really focusing on it too much or you're putting much thought into it. That's a big part of what it is that you don't want to spend a lot of time sitting and thinking about it. More so, you want to just let it go, put it on paper, let it go, and move on. And so then the next day you can pick up with whatever it was, whatever all those tabs were, you can pick it back up in the next day. And that's what you remind yourself of when you lay down to go to sleep and your brain starts to kind of think about those things. It's reminding yourself that can be picked up tomorrow. I don't need to focus on it right now. So that's how you do kind of a brain dump. I say, honestly, you can figure out what's going to work for you, which method. But, maybe it's good to try both of them and kind of see what you like best. So that being said, give it a try, see how it works for you. I've got my wind down naturally guide that is a part of kind of this whole little series here. That I've got that, free guide that will kind of help you set up a wind down routine at the end of the day. Check that out. It'll be in the description box below. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys in the next video.